Hello again. I want to talk about a group in society which contributes nothing and yet takes a large share of the national cake, as you might put it. Most of the calls to the police and requests for ambulances are to deal with the behaviour of just 3 or 4% of the population. Any police officer or ambulance driver will tell you that they are called to the same locations regularly to deal with fights, domestic violence, drug overdoses, the effects of overindulgence in alcohol, and all sorts of criminal activities. Some families are as familiar with the police knocking on the door as the average person is with the arrival of an Uber or an order from Deliveroo. These are the same people who end up in prison all the time. Just 2% of the population account for half of all the prison sentences dished out in Britain. In A&E departments at hospitals, 0.6% of the population account for 16% of the visits to A&E. When a large-scale study is made of the British population and the figures analysed, it found that 20% of the population account for over 80% of criminal convictions. 66% of welfare benefits, 57% of the nights spent in hospital, and 77% of fatherless families. Interesting, no? These people, who are essentially parasites on the rest of us, are what is known in Marxist theory as the Lumpenproletariat. Not the ordinary run-of-the-mill proletariat, you understand. The proletariat, the workers who hire themselves out for pay, are a vital part of the social system. Without them, things would soon grind to a halt. No, the Lumpenproletariat are the dispossessed, the ragged underclass, those who do not work but live off others as best they are able. The thieves, the prostitutes, the drifters, the idle, the mad, and the beggars. In traditional societies, they have a pretty lean time of it, scraping by as best they can. But in Britain's welfare state, they flourish like unwholesome weeds. In Victorian England, of course, the fear of prison, starvation, and the workhouse forced them either to get work and behave like decent and respectable people, and if not, then at least to maintain a low profile. Today, though, a large chunk of our taxes goes towards making life cushy for them and allowing them to live comfortably without going to work. In short, they have abundant leisure to make a nuisance of themselves, stealing, crashing their social housing, having babies, taking drugs and fighting each other, sometimes with knives and guns. It's mugs like us who foot the bill. For some years I worked in Hackney, the London borough of Hackney, with the babies and small children belonging to such people. There was me, a social worker, a community psychiatric nurse, and so on. And we ran support groups at estates such as Kingsmead Estate and Pembury, which is down by Sandringham Road. It used to be known as the Front Line. It was often observed that the clients were far better dressed than we were. The social worker, for example, looked as though she bought her clothes in the Oxfam shop, but the mothers had all the latest fashions and were dripping with gold. Technically, they were on the breadline, of course. A huge chunk of our taxes now go to support this underclass and to catering for its needs. As a result, they often have a better standard of living and a higher disposable income than those in work. This is why 60% of social housing in London contains nobody at all who is working. Why would they? The lumpen proletariat has become the new leisured class, living off the rest of us like leeches. It is not a pleasant state of affairs, nor is it one which can continue indefinitely.